Here's what the future is going to be like. You walk into the store with these 15-minute cities, these smart cities. You walk into the clothing store and you go, ooh, this shirt looks good. There's no tag on it. You put it in your basket. Oh, I need a pair of socks. I need some underwear. You throw it in your basket. No tags on any of it. You walk out. You check your app. You've been deducted, $326 because of, inflation, right? Your t-shirts are going to be expensive. Mm-hmm. But where does that money come from? What does that money mean? It's all going to be a social credit score. Yeah. As we're moving into the AI world, automation, the calls for UBI and all this stuff, how will you get money to be able to go in and grab those clothes? You're going to be a good model citizen. You're going to be high social credit score. And then if you have a high social credit score, they're going to say, you've got an extra $2,000 allotted to you this month for having a score over 800. Mm-hmm. And then you can walk in, take whatever you want. You walk into the McDonald's or whatever, and you just press cheeseburger, and then just boom, pops right up for you, and you don't even got to transact anything. It's all tracking you. It's looking at your eyes, looking at your face. The machine is watching you everywhere you go.
Agenda for the 21st Century, hence its name. These are from its own documents of various kinds. Agenda 21 involves this: an end to national sovereignty, state planning and management of all land resources, ecosystems, deserts, forests, mountains, oceans and fresh water, agriculture, rural development, biotechnology, and ensuring equity, i.e. equal slavery. People told what their job will be, major restrictions on movement, creation of human settlement zones, get to them as we go along, mass resettlement of people who are forced to vacate land where they currently live, dumbing down education, mass global depopulation in pursuit of all of the above. This is a map of America as desired and projected by the Biosphere Programs and World Heritage Program. And whenever you see diversity or sustainability or Agenda 21, they're just into connecting interchangeable terms. So the red on this map of America is designed to be core reserves and corridors with little to no human use. Can you imagine the numbers of people to be removed to make that possible? Then you've got all the yellow bits, buffer zones, highly regulated use, and normal use are just the green bits. Look at it across America, 300 odd million people. And the idea is to make vast areas of land, ban it from human use and human activity on the basis of saving the environment, when what it is taking it all over for the less than 1%. What they want to do is concentrate the masses in high-rise, ultra tiny boxes where they can be under surveillance 24/7. Now, get the people off the land. And so what they're doing, they're changing the laws and they're making economic changes which make it impossible for those that are not of the elite to stay on the land. And so what they're doing under Agenda 21, and America is the primest example, is they're just not funding rural communities. They're not funding rural schools. They're not mending rural roads to make life impossible, to get people off the land. Now this is a big area where people get they get scammed because they don't think that is possible, manipulating the weather to create extremes of weather to get people into situations that remove them from the land. But actually Dr. Richard Day was actually a weather manipulator during the Second World War. People say it's not possible. Of course it's possible. It's happening. It goes way back. Even a BBC radio documentary exposed a few years ago that the Lynmouth flood in 1952, which killed people and devastated that village in Devon, was actually created by the RAF, who were doing an operation called Operation Cumulus, also known as Operation Witch Doctor, in which they were putting sulfur into the atmosphere above this, in this area. And actually people before the massive flood say they kind of tasted and smelled sulfur in the air. And what it did was create an enormous rainstorm, which created the flood, which created the Lynmouth disaster. This is 1996, an official US Air Force document describing the artificial creation of floods, hurricanes, droughts, and earthquakes, and it continues, weather modification will become a part of domestic and international security and could be done unilaterally. It could have offensive or defensive applications and even be used for deterrence purposes. The ability to generate precipitation, fog and storms on Earth or to modify space weather and the production of artificial weather are all part of an integrated set of military technologies. They are manipulating the weather like crazy. This is Agenda 21, human settlement zones. As you saw, it's in their own documents.
Agenda 21 is kind of a code name for a master plan originated at the United Nations to change the political and economic system of the world to one of total collectivism. And in order to do that, people must not be allowed to have independence. They must be dependent on the state for everything. That means they can't have private property. They cannot have land of their own. These people at the top want all humans to be dependent on the largesse of the state. That means that they don't want anybody living out in the boonies. Anybody that's got a couple of acres of land and his own water supply and can grow his own food. These people are a threat to the collectivist society. In order to control mankind, we have to get them all into the big cities. We have to rack them up and stack them up, get them dependent on the state for their food, their shelter, their electrical power, their water, everything. That's the dirty secret behind Agenda 21.
This is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century. It's a totalitarian state being developed right now all over the world. It is the inventory and control plan. Inventory and control of all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all food, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. And this is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations back in 1992. It's a United Nations plan. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century. And so many of us around the world think that, sustainable development, it just sounds so great. Isn't it about recycling and creative reuse and creating energy and food resources for everyone? And the answer is no, it really is not. It's about moving populations into city centers, concentrated city centers, and clearing them out of the rural areas. All systems have to be brought into harmony in order to control them all. Because when systems don't meet, when they're out of balance or not in sync with one another, they can't be controlled centrally. And the goal of Agenda 21 is one world government and total control from a central unit. Every nation that signed on to Agenda 21 has its local Agenda 21 plan. And people in the United States are completely unaware of this. If I go out and talk about this, the United States press attacks me and calls me, which is, it's totally ridiculous. But it's not a theory, it's a fact.
Welcome to the Smart City Revolution panel. We're going to discuss a very exciting topic, which is how we're going to live our lives and how we're going to work in the cities of the future.
The 15-minute cities that everyone is talking about now is the Great Reset's trendy new name for open-air prison camps. The idea is to corral everyone into neighborhoods small enough to walk from one end to the other in 15 minutes, so that you'll never, ever have to leave.
Is your name listed as a stakeholder of any of the redevelopment plans regarding a smart city?
So I'm sorry, but I asked for testimony pursuant to the agenda, and there's nothing on the agenda about smart cities. And if we could also refrain from yelling.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, and I'll provide clarification. Smart cities is everything about housing.
I do not consent to AI control. I do not consent to smart cities.
Excuse me. Okay, I appreciate your comments again. I do really need to stick to the items on the agenda.
You know what? Your agenda can kiss my ass.
While the wildfires have taken lives, there's growing concern developers are now trying to take the land.
We know very well that you guys, as the third largest stakeholders, the state, do want that land and can take it when you deem it a natural disaster.
Funny how all the common people were taken out.
With all these climate events like Lahaina, Los Angeles, North Carolina, the Appalachians, you might want to look into whether your city is on the list of C40 cities. Here are some of the U.S. cities that are on the list. Austin, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Chicago, Illinois, Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, Miami, New Orleans, New York City, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Portland, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and Seattle. Now, if you live in one of those cities, you might want to know a little bit more about what a C40 UN 2030 climate agenda city is. And you might want to consider maybe moving, making sure you have good insurance, and if your insurance companies are all of a sudden canceling your policies, you might want to think about moving or painting your roof blue.
The 15-minute cities is something that the WEF has created called C40, and it's called C40 cities. I would urge you to certainly look on the internet about it. Basically, you won't be able to drive a petrol or diesel car anymore. You'll have to buy electric. If you want food, you will get a calorie-controlled system sent to you by text saying, this is what you can eat today. This is what you can have today. If you violate any of these things, they'll freeze your bank account. That is the next step. These are stages in which they're going to implement this stuff. And this was signed up by the WEF, and the WEF has signed up with our mayor in London as the chair. And he has gone around the world to communicate this C40 to all of the countries in the world. And most of the countries are looking at adopting it. Now, I am going to abolish it. It is a hopeless position. We are going to be in an open prison, or shall we say a COVID, for all the rest of our lives. We will not be able to work unless it's in our 15-minute city. It's diabolical. It's not this is not the right thing. And it's been hidden from the public. No one's talking about it. Reason for
what are these 15-minute cities?
The 15-minute city basically means our mayor has teamed up with 80 mayors around the world. So basically the idea is to put us into our cities. So you won't be able to drive a petrol or diesel car. You will have to buy electric. You won't be able to buy the food you want. You'll get a calorie-controlled diet. It will come to you by text or a message to say, this is what you can eat today. You will not be able to fly, maybe once in 3 years. You will have to remain in your 15-minute city and work in your city. If you can't work in your city, you have to work in your city. You can't leave the city. If you see what's happening in London right now, a lot of the roads are being blocked. There is roadworks everywhere, okay, disruption everywhere. And it's even in the boroughs now. So some of these roads are being blocked off. So you will not be able to drive your car through there. You will have to rely on buses and stuff. But I think the agenda is going to be further in the sense that I believe that the Mayor of London has done these inopportune charges like ULEZ charge and congestion charge. They are not needed. They should be scrapped immediately. I warned the public last year that he will put a charge on Blackwall Tunnel and Silver Street. And what is he doing? He never said he would. And what is he doing? In January 25, he's putting a charge of £4 a day on Blackwall Tunnel and Silver Street. Where does it end? And I think Keir Starmer, I don't know, but I believe that this ULEZ charge is going to go from here to the end of the country. £15 a day. Everyone will have to pay to drive their car. But so these are the things that 15-minute city is creating. So they'll create these cities that will make it look like when you go onto the website, you're sitting in Paris looking at the Champs-Élysées, having your nice baguette and coffee, and it's not the case. The difference is that you will be locked in a city. When there's a COVID, it will be like an open prison. When there's a COVID coming, you will be in that city. Easier for you to be controlled. It is all control.
So they want to control the populace.
Farms in America are being bought by these billionaires, and they're creating these 3D printing meats. I think
Bill Gates is buying up a load of farms, isn't he?
He has, yeah.
Yeah, why?
To control us. Bill Gates is for vaccines and everything else. They can't wait. I saw, I'll send you, a machine, I saw an ATM machine in America. You have to put in your car registration, your driver's number, your passport, your full vaccine card for you and your family.
Just to get cash out?
Yes.
What
and
the
if you
fuck?
don't do that,
Just to get cash out?
Yeah, and if you're in your 15-minute city, you don't listen to what they tell you. They will freeze your bank accounts. This is
my big fear of a central bank digital currency in a cashless society.
CBDC is another thing that's an add-on.
What do you think about those?
I don't like it. I would like the freedom of cash and also the freedom of using the cards. But I don't want to be controlled. It's simple as that. I don't want it. I actually don't like it. I don't like the system. What do my kids do? I mean, how do we...
Sorry, just quickly before we move on. What was it you said about these 15-minute cities that sent it all viral?
Well, I did this post for 1 minute, 20 seconds, and what I've told you has gone viral. It's gone everywhere to 27 million people so far. Maybe more.
And what did you say in 1 minute, 20 seconds?
What I just told you.
Okay. So 15-minute cities are about control.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to do the things. So if, for example, you're working here in Peterborough and you live 20 miles away and it's not in your 15-minute city, you can't work here. You can't come here. You have to be in your 15-minute city.
Do you think the social credit system is coming?
Well, you mean they're going to take your houses away?
Well,
that's another assumption that's going to happen, probably. Yep. You will not own a home eventually.
The state will own it.
Yeah, this is a massive agenda. I really urge you to look into it deep.
First of all, you were the inventor of the 4.0 term, so a little explanation of this, please.
So the fourth industrial revolution, made simple, is like three colliding worlds together. The digital world, the physical world, and the virtual world. So when you take your phone in your hand, it's digital because it can connect with all devices. It's virtual because you can call your mom or your boyfriend and you can look at them, or you can view presentations. It's physical because it's a physical device, so you can connect and you can view elements to it. So this is the element that is happening in all industries, all governments. The fourth industrial revolution is changing every aspect of how we consume, how we live, how our economy works, how we interact together, faster than ever before.